revelation.
Mm-hmm.
And I know years ago when we first began just understanding that Satan had an organized plan, an organized, diabolical purpose set against our God. I had known that Satan was, he was a creature, but he wasn't anything I gave any thought to. He wasn't relevant to my life, and I was suckered. And I was blinded to the fact that he was very much a part of every Christian's life. And so I think if this kind of a show will make people question to the point of seeking the Lord and searching the Scriptures to see that these things are so, that it will be worth it.
Yes.
To prepare a few. We know there's a remnant that will believe, that will take this before the Lord and really be shaken up and stirred up, and perhaps their direction will change. And they will be more earnest about seeking the Lord, about giving their lives entirely to see the Lord have his place in their hearts and in the hearts of others. So that's my prayer, and I do love all these sisters and just greatly admire them for what they've endured.
Yes.
And I love the Lord as he has delivered them and as he's bringing them through into life and into wholeness. And so my spiritual hat goes off to them.
Yes, I agree, and thank you so much, Lori. Appreciate that. Dan, do you have any closing thoughts or comments?
Well, Doug, I was just you spoke about the reason why all this came out in the first place is we have all tried to move along a route of coming to that place of wholeness and maturity with reference to just the normal Christian life as is to be lived, and so these memories have come up as we've sought to deal with the issues in our life and to deal with that which would represent a hindrance to our knowing the Lord in fullness. So, and I've sat in sessions with others over the years, and I've seen the anguish that has produced the memories, the anguish of having to face the reality of a past. And then I've also seen that which represents a more solid person afterwards, as the issues are dealt with, as the memories are regathered together and consolidated, and the person is able to take their life back. And as that happens, then there has been not only individually but a corporate consolidation with reference to what it means to be moving closer to the representation of John 17, ironically, individually as we've been so shattered, and then as a corporate company seeking to live in the good of that. And the other aspect that was kind of why are we having the different occasions for the Bite Show, this for the girls tonight as far as their history of having been mothers to this, and at other times when we talked about the dissociation, I just think about those who represented the sons of Issachar in the Old Testament. And it was at times when they knew the time and they were able to tell Israel, give Israel instruction as far as what to do. And I feel like this is so much it. We are in the final generation. Whenever the great revealing happens with reference to the aliens coming on the scene, even the Christians who have no frame of reference with reference to what's going on, and even the Christians who say that UFOs are just delusional, and any manifestation to those who are abducted is all delusional, and it's not reality in any way, nothing physical, no hardware. They're going to have no frame of reference and nowhere to go. There are no aliens. They are the hybrid Nephilim who will masquerade as aliens. And whenever this happens, if those in the church have not been taught, have not been instructed, have not been enlightened of where we are in this time, there will be no place to go but to accept the fact that they must be aliens. A great deception.
Yes.
So, I mean, I agree with what's already been said. The absolute need to know that we're in the last time and to know what that means.
Mm-hmm. And would you, knowing these people for many years that are reporting as Nephilim mothers, do you consider them, as Paul states here in 2 Corinthians 13, verse 1, this is the third time I'm coming to you, Paul says, and quoting Deuteronomy 19, I think 15, every fact, every matter is to be confirmed by the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. Do you consider the people that you know and that we haven't included here tonight have conceived and given birth to Nephilim, do you consider these as biblically qualified to be biblically defined witnesses?
Oh, I do, certainly. And even from my perspective, I'm not a counselor, but I've sat in with you and with others and times in the way of prayer ministry. And so I've heard the testimony from the different ones, independent of anyone else, and without any kind of coaxing in any way whatsoever. And it's just like a court of law. If you come in with circumstantial evidence, it's hard to convict a case. You need the testimony. And I believe we clearly have the testimony of so many here tonight and those others that we've come across with reference to what's happened to them. Clearly, it is the testimony that represents a biblical aspect.
Yes. And I would just like to conclude that this is a representation of witnesses that I have worked with. These witnesses have spoken. For any of you out there to say that these are not, they don't meet the biblical criteria for witnesses, you're not the authority. The authority is in a witness. And I'm not a witness, but I know the authenticity and the character of those who are witnesses, and they have spoken what they have seen and heard, and with great courage and cost that they have brought this to light. So the witnesses have given firsthand evidence that we are in the place that is described as the last days, described by Jesus, as it was in the days of Noah, so it will be at the return of the Son of Man. And I would like to just put in one little parenthesis here. When we first did our first interview on Nephilim mothers, that same night, Connie got a call at 2 to 3 in the morning, and on the caller ID it had my name. When she picked up the phone, it was Prince Philip, and was very upset over what she had reported. There was a forced abduction. She paid a great price. Others here, I know, have paid a great price through abduction of reporting this. And so I have seen the cost and had to deal with the fallout in helping these people work through the trauma of having reported. So this is no small thing. This is not notoriety. This cost to come public with this. And the adversary absolutely fears that which is hidden in the darkness to be brought out in the light. And I'm going to leave this with our listeners. Jesus says, not only as it was in the days of Noah, so will it be to return the Son of Man. But in that same context, he says, and if those days had not been shortened leading up to his coming, no flesh would survive. So that's Satan's goal. It's just so corrupt, just like in the days of Noah, to wipe out the recipients of God's promise, to make it impossible for people to be saved by taking on this mark or wiping out the human race by creating a hybrid. This was his goal in Genesis 6, and now it's going to be repeated as the final end game, Luciferian end game, that will culminate in Satan having his army on the field to wage war against God, as we see in Revelation 16, verses 11 and 12 through 16, Revelation 17, 12 through 14, and Revelation 19:19. We see there's a final war that Satan is preparing to thwart and to seek to defeat God at the end. He's dead serious, and we need to be aware of this. Now, God is sovereign, and I thank God for this opportunity that God has given us, and a special thanks to Georgia. Appreciate your prayers for her, that she would, the Lord would restore her. And so for those that are listening for the first time, if you go to the Bite Show and under the guest section, my name, Douglas Riggs, is there. The page will open up, and the files we've been doing will be listed on there. So we just ask God's blessing and protection on all of the listeners. We commit what has been presented to our Lord and pray His blessing, and He would use it in a way that would help, especially equip the church to be aware, as Dan referred to, as sons of Issachar, who were knowers of the time, that they could tell Israel what to do. And so, in whatever way we represent those that are knowers of the time, we do commit this to you and pray that God would use it. So we just say good night to everybody, and look forward to presenting other shows to you in the future. Good night, everybody.